Hey, here we are again. Last time we talked about learning to live as a son, what that looks like when you're actually standing in it. And for me, that didn't happen in a quiet season. Everything still had a date on it. A due date was coming. Outcomes I couldn't control were coming whether I was ready for it or not. And that's where this started. It was a phone call or a piece of mail, just a picture of my kids, any memory that showed up without warning. That was all it took. And once it started, it pulled everything with it. In every place I felt like I had failed, every loss, and I couldn't shut it off. It was all chained together in what I call this downward spiral. And without those things, I was left with myself. I noticed everything. Every place I was still out of alignment, every fall, everything I had been avoiding. It was all just sitting there. Those old ways of coping wasted time and energy and kept me from having to look at what was actually in front of me. And now I had to look at it. I could have gone back, but I had already tasted a rest I desperately needed. And I knew what going back would cost me. I knew that if I went back, there would be no more Brandon. I knew what Jesus said in Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And I wanted that, but I was still carrying everything, and I hadn't learned yet that carrying it was the problem. I had started trail running, and I was pushing up a ridge I had never made it up without stopping, almost 1,000 feet of a climb spread out over a mile, and everything in me burning, lungs, legs on fire, heart about to come out of my chest, sweat and tears, and I could barely breathe, let alone speak. And I got to the top and I just said it. I said, God, I feel like I have felt everything. My kids, my marriage, my calling, everything that you've given me. I've lost it. And I can't do this on my own. I can't forgive. And I've tried and I cannot do it. And I need your help. And somewhere in that, barely able to get the words out, I forgave her. And in forgiving her, I forgave myself. And I hurt him. And he said, Brandon, you haven't lost anything, not even your children. I have them. And when he said that, the weight I had been carrying lifted off of me. I felt it leave. And all at the same time, I remembered that I had dedicated my kids to him when they were newborns. And even though I thought that this was some sort of cute little thing that you do, he took it very seriously. And I stood there with nothing in my hands. I had no backup plan. I had no way out. And I wasn't afraid. And I started running again across that ridge, and I felt lighter than I've ever felt. And he met me there. And he's been with me since. And those things that used to trigger that spiral, they didn't disappear. A phone call still comes, and a memory still shows up, and something still hits that same place. But it doesn't take me down the same way anymore. I can feel it start to try, and I know that what it is now, and I don't run from it, and I definitely do not numb it. I don't try to outrun it. I stay where I am, and I bring it to him, because I'm not carrying it anymore. I can't. And there's a difference in my body now. There's a stillness that wasn't there before, and not because everything is fixed, but because I'm not holding on to everything anymore. And Psalms 23 says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. I had just walked through it, and he was there. It says he makes me lie down in green pastures, and he leads me beside still waters. I began trusting him with outcomes. The things that used to pull me into that spiral, I kept putting them in his hands. They were never mine to carry. That image of lying down in green pastures and beside still waters. I heard Dallas Willard talk about that. That's a place of contentment. A sheep would be nibbling that water or nibbling that grass and drinking that water, but he's content and he's lying down and he's walking beside of it. And that's what rest looks like. And so obedience in what's in front of me. That's it. Every day. And when it comes up with its due date, you trust him with everything. You leave it with him. And you walk it out with him because he's with you. I'm Brandon. This is your momentum moment.